What? You're serious? Fine, you do you. I don't know about helping the zealots, but I like this guy's optimism. You show him a few drops of water, he sees a full glass. Parents protect their kids. Period. Whew, that's quite a list. I'm trying to imagine this place in its heyday. Bustling homes and smiling faces. Makes it seem warmer, but sadder too. Ooh, you can see Dazra from here. Fun, and that's what the people of Dazra need, regardless of whose name is on the family tree. Sounds fair enough to me. You know that all must serve, Kavil. Right now, handing over that key card, that is how you best serve the Great Serpent. There's a path here. Might be worth climbing up to see what we find. I'm just not sure House Fathal's militant attitude makes them less or more susceptible to the whims of a cosmic snake. As large as this area is, the barracks are pretty empty. I wonder how many soldiers were lost in the calamity. Regardless, I won't sit here and sugarcoat it. The people of Dazra have a long road ahead of them. Another one! We've got this! Ah, zealots. They're that nosy neighbor who never bothers to knock. Let's hope they keep the in-laws busy. There's the reactor. Thinking cap's on. We'll need to stabilize it first. Cozy. This must have been a great spot for a meal once upon a time. As for the whole choosing a leader thing, time will tell if you made the right choice. That's pretty messed up, but hey, it's on them for having you make that choice. The whims of a cosmic snake aside, House Dul Kef seems like they'd be more open to trade with the settled systems. Silver spoon or not, I can't argue with the right to choose. That rock formation looks like a ramp. Be shame if someone took their ride and launched from it. Well, I hate to punt the ball here, but I'm just a tourist. I don't know enough about Varun culture or politics to form an educated opinion. All right, I will. I suppose this is where we step up. After all, Constellation is about taking risks to explore the unknown. There's no way he's thinking clearly with everything going on. A lot of interesting sculptures and goodies here. Anthropologically speaking, I'm intrigued. I'd apply for that job in a second, Malia, but I'm already booked. Wow. Part of me is awed by the science and spectacle of it. But the rest of me is terrified knowing what it's capable of. There's some kind of monastery at the top of that mesa. Might be worth checking out. And scientifically speaking, I wouldn't want to make a decision like this without a full set of data. As a part of nature, people generally don't like to be contained. And we all know how that saying goes. Yeah, and it was unfair how they put the onus on you. Never easy being a tiebreaker. Do you realize what you did? You started a war with the entire settled systems. And for what? What reason could you possibly have to justify it? I'm going to stick with you for now, but please learn from this. Are you kidding me? That's a cop-out. That's fine. We'll talk later. Dazra's in such bad shape, people are taking shelter wherever they can find it. What could go wrong if we go to the shack of some weird guy we don't know anything about? Maybe, just maybe, there's a reason that nobody else will talk to him. I've never seen a star station like that before. That's right. They could carry you around on a palanquin and walk you through the city. And of course, there'd be confetti. Call me cynical. But how do we know this guy isn't setting us up to get mugged or worse? Is Schrodinger's cat dead or alive? Or both? What happens when things go unobserved? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Electrical transformers. The science behind electromagnetic induction is fascinating if you ever have a chance to study it. These turrets seem oddly placed. What exactly is coming out of that crater? Well, this isn't the first time people have committed heinous acts in the name of some divine edict. Constellation is about exploring the unknown and keeping your mind and heart open to new discoveries. Okay, that happened. It's easy to get lost in a city like this. Nice to have these plazas as a waypoint. But we're talking this over eventually. You can't just start a war and expect me to let this go. See those batteries? When it's dislodged, we need to lower it somehow and reconnect it. There must be a control room to drain the water. It's blocking the door, and also, I didn't bring my swimsuit. It seems like there's a shrine in every home. Say what you will about the citizens here, but they practice what they preach. Agreed. If history is our teacher here, major cataclysms come with deep wounds and emotional scars. Looks like one of the maintenance workers. Didn't stand a chance against the zealots. Yeah, sure. My sidekick here is pretty good company, I guess. Look, I think we can move past this. I believe that what you and I share is important and worth working on. They might as well have decided their leadership with a rock, paper, scissors contest. You got a point. But when people are vying for a throne, sometimes an outsider is the only person who can be objective. I can see another part of the station behind these numbered food crates. There might be a way to get through. Hey, this wasn't in the job description. We're getting too involved here. That's the parable of the broken window. Sure, it benefits the window fixers, but not the person paying for it. Hey, it's on them for not doing their homework on you. And it always turns out to be some megalomaniac doing megalomaniac things. Guess what that makes you? It's hard to say for sure. It really depends on whether they can stay out of their own way. Wow, this is getting to be some party. Don't mind us. Just passing through. I'm curious how spacers got here on their own. I'd love to sit down with them and share experiences. But I doubt they feel the same. I'm both excited and terrified by what this device can do. But the work presses on. But sometimes when people are in need, you just have to bite your tongue and lend a hand. These must be sleeping pods. I would feel too boxed in to sleep. Well, I doubt House Varun would have had the resources to invade the settled systems. If there's an award for Parent of the Year, this guy is not winning it. Yeah, sure. And I'm the Tooth Fairy. Either way, I won't waste your brain cells on the what-ifs. The fact is you got rid of the vortex and saved Dazra. I'd like to say there's a scientific explanation, but I got nothing. That must be the armor Malia wanted. I hope there's a way to wash it. Believe me, us heretics have often wondered ourselves. I don't like this. The camp's empty, but all their things are still here. So it would have likely been guerrilla tactics to start. Ambushes, sabotage, that kind of stuff. I don't recall agreeing to this part of the plan. Well, you get no argument from me. Not sure the citizens of Dazra are prepared for what's coming, though. I gotta agree. I can't even make wise decisions on an empty stomach. Careful. Those fumes look noxious and those creatures look angry. I've followed a few visions in my time. Mixed results, if I'm being honest. But this one could be legit. Maybe not at the start, but they're militant, focused, and fiercely determined. The morning device was a scientific achievement, one that I would love to unpack and study. The people who made it are capable of great things. You have to admire the technology that goes into something like this. Self-sustaining agriculture on a station this large is pretty impressive. The cavalier way you put lives in danger. It's murder. And that's a line that can't be crossed. I hear he's got a commanding presence. Good trait for a leader. Dangerous for a dictator. I love you, but there are some things I can't forgive. Time to teach those zealots a lesson in regret. Careful. This looks like some sort of trash compactor. Let's not press our luck. Well, I could beg to differ, but I won't be that guy. I'm not saying it gets any easier, but eventually you just learn to live with it. Sure, they're bean counters, but that could tie things up in regulation. Even as a man of science, I can appreciate a temple as a place to pray and grieve. To see it all taken away, I feel for the people here. Sleeping with the enemy. No one likes that. It's interesting that faith plays such a prominent role in the healing process. I'd be curious to see if there's science behind it, or if it's just a placebo. That's a good point. But maybe your hand doesn't have to be a crutch. It can be a boost. Hey, after what you did, they should be rolling out the red carpet for any and all outsiders. And even if the city is restored, the scars will last generations. A pat on the back isn't nearly enough. I hope they throw you a parade. You and me both. But something like this doesn't go away in a year. See you on the other side, Captain. But please, take some time to think about your actions before you make them. Call me crazy, but I believe you can change. Irvin would have loved to examine these plants. Beautiful, dangerous, like a moth to a flame. Well, I figure after this, we've got at least one potential afterlife on lock. That has to be the Fang's rifle. I'd bet an artifact on it. Now this is wasteland living. And you spent a lot of time in Dazra. Who knows how that might have shifted your perspective. But it does matter. You made these decisions. You have to own them, justify them. That's the headline on the Dazra Daily. Who done it and why? I like your style. As one scientist to another, we should trade notes sometime. It's the boost pack. Nice of the spaces to store it here for us. Yeah, they've been on a kick lately. Well, that explains a lot. Might have been better off putting the names in a hat. The whims of a cosmic snake aside, House Kadik seems like they'd be more open to peace. Watching the reconstruction of the morning device is fascinating. Theoretically, it should work, but you know what they say about theory. I like to think I'm an expert in weird, but I've never seen anything like this. Something's made its nest here. I'd take samples of this goo, but it might be wiser to reach for my gun. Looks like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. Okay, we need to talk about the Serpent's Crusade because seriously, what the hell? One thing I appreciate about Constellation is they don't get wrapped up in red tape. Well, I'll try anything once, but you better be on the level here. We've been through so much and are on this journey together. That's the problem with omnipotent beings. Poor communication skills. The big picture? All I see is a mugshot. Okay, I'll listen to what you have to say, but I'm not going to accept excuses. Put all that together and you can do a lot of damage. Of all the ways to die, crushed by the disposal unit is the least appealing. Huh. So, just like that then. It's goodbye. Go! Go! If only Sirac could have held out a little longer. When you think about all the lives that were lost because of this crusade, there's no honor and glory in any of this. This would be a nice place for a picnic, if it weren't crawling with baddies. Someone turned this crash into an outpost. Classic Varun ingenuity. Catastrophic failure may be the understatement of the year. Seems the accident here displaced a lot of people. I hope the conditions here are humane, but I'm not holding my breath. Of course it didn't. Sometimes I wonder if you even see things that happen on the smaller scale. You ever just want to pick up one of those groats and take them home? I might even hand out some flyers. Or maybe fire them from a cannon. You can try, but you can't escape it. Fair. Do you think there should be a Dusty Day? That'd be pretty sweet if you ask me. And well-deserved. I'd really like to believe that. 2 thumbs up even. Don't sell yourself short. Well, now it's really a party. Your peers? Well, I don't see any other crooks around here. Face it, it's over. I hope that phantom really was bluffing. Look at those blades of rock. Nice to have a roof over your head, I think. Neat place for a shrine. I'd argue it humanizes them if they weren't always shooting at us. As head of House Kadik, she's a spy master, right? Well, I've got a natural distrust of sneaky folks, built from watching years of low-budget spy movies. First off, I just want to say, heck of a job saving Dazra. That was a tough situation to navigate, and you did it with aplomb. Ooh, a science outpost. It looks like they were doing a soil survey. The dam must have been built to protect the farm from the edge of the lake. Just signs taking the inn out of inhospitable. Posts like this make for great watchtowers. The only question is, from what threat? Hey, I'm just along for the ride. My friend, on the other hand, I hope in time you realize the scale of what you've done. The lives you put in harm's way. But either way, I can't be a part of it. Finally, I get to try this Koza I've heard so much about. From what I understand, he's a taskmaster, but for large-scale projects, it's usually for the best. I don't know. I'd like to think anyone can change, but only if they acknowledge there's a problem worth fixing. Well, it's nice to see you again, too. Will you look at that? All the way out here in the far reaches of space. Ha! Chunks finds a way. I know you're not afraid of making hard decisions, so maybe there was another reason you abstained from making a choice. Not sure what a camp is doing this far out. It's either scientific or underhanded. As a participant in the overall human experiment, I'm just going to interject for a moment to say that I'm not really a fan of where this is going. Because that's what House Bethal likes to do. Give it maybe 20 years and you'll start to see the results. Zealots willing to negotiate? Well, that's a new one for my book. Either way, I hope the new leadership in Dazra is just as level-headed. The ruined shrines have a serenity about them, even amidst all the violence. But that greatness is also a Pandora's box, filled with as much misfortune as it is hope. Guess you've done a lot more reading than I have. That got the power running at least, but we might be too late. But while I love you, that love is not unconditional. Only if you believe in bloodlines and god kings. In my opinion, anyone can be a leader. The Crimson Fleet's getting smarter. Food is the most valuable commodity in times like these. 3 days seems like a lot given how passionate people here are about their work. Whoa, that's House Faroon's mark. Well, that's not something you see every day. Then again, when has House Faroon ever fought in that manner? So I don't know. Let's just be glad we don't have to imagine it. But it did surprise me when you told them no one was fit to lead. Not unless that tape is a being from another universe, here to make things sticky. Yeah, so I hear. The big snake in the sky, rubber stamping tens of thousands of deaths. Not my cup of tea. Rules and regulations are bad words in my dictionary. And an even smaller price to pay for one's moral code. Look, I'm willing to forgive you, but only if you're willing to learn and grow from this. Stay light as hydrogen, and we might be able to sneak by. Pretty nifty engineering to use the crater to keep the growth sheltered. I respect it.
It will be nothing short of the highest honor. We will not fail.
These two should take this act on the road. Even if you never set foot in Dazra again, time's a loquacious one. It'll give you the story and spare no feelings. It is what scholars do. Even the physical sciences have gone from objective truths to having to deal with the more unpredictable quantum side of things. I want you to open your eyes and see the consequences of that choice. And if you can't, then I can't be a part of it. They're going to have to make foundational decisions regarding everything from infrastructure to immigration to their core religious beliefs. Didn't expect to find a bunker here. Nice use of the landscape. A floating village. It looks charming. I wonder if anyone's around. I guess they really were telling the truth. Tough way to find out. What? In what universe is any of that true? This isn't some political argument with no answer. This is the difference between right and wrong, life and death. Does the structure you're talking about include a barred door and no key? Philosophically speaking, do we really ever own anything? Maybe our thoughts or actions? But we're all just matter and energy in transitory states. Tane's got a point. And these people have every reason to keep their mouths shut. Look at those flags. It's a new day in Dazra. Sounds like maybe some things aren't so different out here after all. A geothermal plant. If it's anything like ours back home, it combines energy from the formation of the planet and from radioactive decay. Well, you can definitely tell spacers have been here. A lot of bluster and frustration on those three. They're either talking politics or money, or both. Must be nice to be born into a house like this. It's opulent. My scanner says we need to skedaddle. Now! That's singing. It has a familiar melody, but I can't seem to place it. I want to trust that we can move beyond this. Mind games, huh? Well, I'm up for a little mental challenge. Ew, poking around animal corpses? Maybe I should have packed some nose plugs. I've got a bit of nerves knowing what this device is capable of. Let's hope the science is right this time. Seems to me like there's an opportunity here. Sounds like that's our cue to hit the exit. You really do make a damn persuasive argument. The Morning was the ship that introduced the settled systems to House Faroon 100 years ago. But gastronomically speaking, I am glad you didn't go with House Bethal. The last thing the settled systems needs is another war. Valid. Part of me wants to say you did it to yourselves. It's true. I heard it too, plain as day. Hey, 2 targets are better than 1. They are. Real explorers have a responsibility not to cause harm. We're not colonizers. We're not agitators. We're here to observe and discover. Well, we knew this guy was shady from the jump. But a former zealot? Yeah, that's a new one. It's hard to reconcile the beauty of this view with the destruction below it. But damn, what a sight. Well, at least the spacers knocked before they went in. Yeah, Victor sent you to take out his own son. Life or death choices aren't exactly easy. Even experienced pilots have to make the occasional crash landing. Looks like whoever was inside made camp and left. I don't know them, but I do know history. And historically, militant governments are a pain in the you-know-what. This is an interesting rock formation. It almost looks man-made. Good timing. We ran out of conversation topics a while ago. It was getting a little awkward in here. I got the impression house politics were on another level. But isn't this a bit extreme? The Rune Kai is home to many natural predators. You can recognize them by the sound of their distinct gunfire. Is it just me, or is there always a complication? The shrine has an interesting shape to it, almost like a morel mushroom. I don't know about that, Dusty. On a scale of picking a dessert to solving quantum gravity, this was definitely a piece of cake. Time to turn on that irresistible charm, Captain. We don't need a real throne. We have a throne at home. I also want to thank you for putting a halt to the Serpent's crusade. Yeah, listen, I hope you're not talking about me, because that is not the way this works. Ha! You're traveling forward right now. Sure, it's a slow ride, but you can enjoy the view. Your ancestor must have been one tough customer to command a vessel that important. What you did was monstrous. But I'm trying to balance that with everything else you've done, good and bad. Oh, he seemed like a trustworthy fellow. Then again, political types like him make a career out of earning people's trust. Let's hope this first push sends them on the right path. There's too many lives at stake for you to be so damn dismissive. You know what they say, the bigger the statue, the bigger the insecurity. Still, it's worth giving her a chance. She has the connections you'd need to bring in help from outside Dazra. This is getting out of hand, Dusty. We gotta move. That Victor was so tight-lipped about this situation. He didn't want this news getting out at all. And what about all the lives that will be lost in the process? On both sides. Did that ever enter your thought process? Pretty rough sleeping arrangements. Still, I call dibs on the top shelf. Whoa. I was not expecting something like that. Wow. Wow. I'm hoping it's just an empty threat. Would make things a whole lot clearer if they just stopped by and talked to you. Even if I never got to meet this Makara the Fang. The way you talk about her is convincing enough. Cultivating a little goodwill with one of the noble houses could be useful. At the end of the day, you made a choice to start this Serpent's crusade. Who turned out the lights? She'll be there. Let's go. You know we'd both want to do the same. True. But sometimes the right thing can be hard to see, especially when you have something to gain by ignoring it. Nice work, Dusty! Yeah, I wouldn't have said that. And the fact that you did all of this without considering how the rest of us would feel? This looks like a research level. Science never sleeps, but neither does security. At the next port, we'll go our separate ways. Acts of aggression like this go against who we are as a people. I think I had a dream about this place once. Didn't make any sense until... well, still doesn't make sense, honestly. There's a good chance Varric dropped a clue as to where he went. You just got to find the right trigger for the memory. Any music or smells at the time might bring it back. Just think of what else was going on last time you spoke to it.